Hi guys, so today I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this beautiful shirt and palazzo pant. It is detailed, beginner friendly and very easy to understand. So if you're interested, please watch till the end. And if this is your first time here, please click on the subscribe button and also don't forget to like and share this video. So here I have my fabric for the front, and I'll be cutting the front of the shirt open because of the button I'll be attaching to the center front of the dress. So when folding your fabric for the front, you'll be folding using the biggest part of your body, which is your hip divided by 4 plus 5 inch. So from that 5 inch, I'll be using 2.5 inch as the button allowance, and the remaining 2.5 inch is going to be for the side seam allowance. For the length of the shirt, the length is as desired, but don't forget to add your hemming allowance of 1.5 inch or 2 inch. So this piece here is for the front of the shirt I'll be making, while this one here is going to be for the back. So I'll be cutting the back of the shirt on fold because the back does not have a button, and also when folding you'll be folding using your hip divided by 4 plus 5 inch. And also the length of the back should be 3 inch longer than the front because I want the shoulder of the back to extend to the front a little. So now we are going to go ahead to start the tutorial proper. The first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to mark my button allowance on the center of the front. So I'll go ahead to take in 2.5 inch like so. I'll mark the 2.5 inch all the way down, after which I'll connect the point together with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done marking my button allowance, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to place the front and the back block together because I'll be cutting the both of them together. So I'll go ahead to place the back block of the shirt on the table like so, and I'll go ahead to arrange it. Once I'm done arranging it, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to place the front block of the shirt on the back block, making sure that the back block stops where the button allowance starts from. So you're going to go ahead to place it like so, and also don't forget to make your back longer than the front by at least 2.5 inch or 3 inch. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do once I have it arranged like so is to secure the both of them together with my pins because I'm using a very light fabric. So I'm going to go ahead to secure the front and the back together with my pins like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done securing it with my pin, I'm going to go ahead to draw the shoulder slope. So from this side of the shirt, I'm going to go ahead to come down by 1.5 inch. After marking it, I'll go ahead to connect it to those points using a straight line like so, after which I'll go ahead to cut it out. So after cutting off the shoulder slope, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to remove the pins I used in securing the front and the back block together. After which I'll go ahead to drag the front block downward, making sure that the hemline for the front and the back are aligning, and this is what the upper part is going to look like. So once I'm done arranging the front and the back block together, what I have here is 2.5 inch. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to fold this extension I have on the back into the front. So I'm going to go ahead to fold it over like so, making sure that it folds into the front block by at least 0.5 inch. Then I'll go ahead to use my pin to keep it in place. After keeping it in place with my pins, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to start inserting the measurement, and I'll be starting from this point here. So I'll go ahead to place my tape like so, and I'll insert the first measurement, which is my shoulder divided by 2, and mark. After marking the shoulder measurement, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my armhole depth line. So I'm going to go ahead to mark the armhole depth line, which is 8.5 inch. Then I'll go ahead to draw the armhole depth line with my ruler like this. So this line here is the armhole depth line, while this one is going to be serving as the chest line. Next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my bust circumference measurement. So I'll go ahead to place my tape like so, starting from the button allowance, and I'll mark my bust divided by 4. After marking it, I'll go ahead to add 1 inch for ease and 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance. So after doing that, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my shoulder to waistline measurement. So I'll go ahead to place my tape at the tip of my fabric like so. Then I'll go ahead to insert the shoulder to waistline measurement. Once I'm done taking out that measurement, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to insert my waist measurement on the waistline. So I'll mark my waist divided by 4 and mark. Then I'll go ahead to add 1 inch for ease and 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance. Once I'm done doing that, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to move over to the hemline, and I'll be repeating the same thing. I'll go ahead to mark my hip divided by 4 on the hemline plus 1 inch for ease and 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. Once I'm done doing that, I'll go ahead to connect the sides together with my ruler like this. After connecting the side, this is what it is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to give the side a little shape because I don't want it straight. And in doing that, I'll go ahead to place my tape like so, and I'll mark 2 inch upward. After which I'll connect it to the hemline using a slight curve like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to move over to the armhole area. So I'm just going to go ahead to draw the armhole of the shirt like you see me doing in the video. So this is what the armhole of the shirt is going to look like. The next we are going to go ahead to do now is to move over to the neckline. So I'll place my tape at this point like so and mark a neck width of 3 inch. After marking the neck width of 3 inch, I'm going to go ahead to place the tape like so again, and I'll go ahead to insert a neck depth of 3 inch also. So I'm starting my measurement from this point. After marking the point, I'm going to go ahead to draw a simple round neck like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done drawing the neckline, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So when cutting out the neckline, we're going to go ahead to cut the back neckline first before we cut the front neckline. So this part is a little bit tricky, so just watch what I'm doing and follow the same process. So for the back, I'm going to go ahead to just cut out the folded part. So I'm going to go ahead to leave the folded part like so. Then I'll go ahead to cut that part alone for the back. I'm going to go ahead to cut it down to where the neck will stop, and I'll cut it out like so. So this part I'm cutting now is for the back neckline. Once I'm done cutting out the back neckline, I'm going to go ahead to cut out the remaining neckline like this. So this one I'm cutting now is just on the front block of the shirt, so you just have to be careful when doing this. So after cutting out the neckline, this is what the neckline is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out the armhole and the sides of the shirt. So after cutting them, the next thing you're going to go ahead to do now is to join the front block to the back block, and in doing that you're going to go ahead to place the back block like so. Then you place the front block on it, making sure that the good face of the front is facing the good face of the back. Once you're done doing that, the next thing to do is to go over to your sewing machine and join the shoulders together. So after I was done joining the shoulders together, this is what it is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to place the front block on the back block for you to see what it looks like. So when you place the front on the back, you will notice that the shoulder of the back is extending to the front. That was the main reason why we extended the back length by 3 inch. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to sew the button allowance, and in doing that you're going to go ahead to place your fabric like so, and you fold over collar on the wrong side. So you're going to go ahead to fold in 0.5 inch first, then you go ahead to fold it over again into the 2.5 inch mark. So after folding, make sure that what you have at this point is 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to repeat it again. You fold in 0.5 inch first, then you go ahead to fold it over again. After folding it over again, you go ahead to run a stitch on the edge like so. I'll now be doing the same thing on the other side, after which I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after I was done sewing the button allowance, this is what it is going to look like once you're done sewing the button allowance. So when sewing your button allowance, make sure you use a matching thread, and also make sure that your stitches are straight when sewing your button allowance. The next thing we're going to go ahead to do now is to cut out the collar for the shirt. But before cutting out the collar, the first thing to do is to measure the neck circumference of the shirt. So I'm going to go ahead to take my measurement all the way around like you see me doing in the video. So once I was done taking out the measurement, what I got was 19.5. So I'm going to go ahead to cut out the collar using this measurement I got from the neck circumference on the shirt. So for the collar, I'll be drafting on this gum stay you see here, and I'll be drafting the collar on fold. I like drafting on the gum stay because after drafting, I'll just go ahead to attach it to my fabric after drafting. That is why I prefer drafting on my gum stay whenever I'm drafting a collar. So now we're going to go ahead to start drafting the collar. The first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw a straight horizontal line on the collar stay like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done drawing the straight horizontal line, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert half of the neck circumference measurement on this line that I just drew. So remember, we are cutting the neck on fold, so you're going to go ahead to divide whatever neck circumference you took on your shirt into 2. Then you go ahead to place it on the line that you drew at the lower part of your gum stay. So once I'm done inserting that line, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to insert the width of the collar stand. So we're drafting the collar stand first, and the width I'll be using for the collar stand is 1 inch. So I'll go ahead to mark the 1 inch upward like so, after which I'll draw a straight horizontal line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done drawing the straight horizontal line, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw a straight vertical line at this point like so. After drawing the vertical line, I'm going to go ahead to go up by 0.5 inch from this point like you see me doing in the video. After going up by 0.5 inch, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to divide what I have on this part into 2. So I'll go ahead to place my tape like so and measure what I have. After doing that, I'll divide my tape into 2 to get the midpoint of the measurement I took. Then I'll go ahead to mark it on it like so. After doing that, I'll connect that midpoint to the 0.5 inch I went up by with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done connecting them together, the next I'm going to go ahead to do is to retake the collar stand width again. So I'll go ahead to place my tape like so, and I'll mark 1 inch all the way down to the midpoint. Then I'll go ahead to connect it with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So this line here is no longer relevant, and also the one below. This part here is going to be serving as the collar stand for the collar we are making. So once we are done doing this, we are going to go ahead to move over to the main collar itself, and I'll go ahead to draw another straight horizontal line, after which I'll insert the height of the collar I'll be making, which is 2.5 inch. After marking the 2.5 inch, I'll go ahead to connect the 2 points together with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to go in by 1 inch from this part. So I'm going to go ahead to go in by 1 inch like so and mark. After marking, I'll connect this point to this side using a slant line like this. So next, I'll be coming up by 0.25 inch on the center of the collar like this and mark. After marking it, I'll go ahead to connect it to this point using my ruler like this. So we are doing this to make the collar fit well on the neckline of the shirt. So next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So I'll go ahead to cut out the collar stand first, then I'll go ahead to cut out the main collar like you see me doing in the video. So here we have the collar stand and the main collar itself. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut my fabric, and I'll be cutting 2 pieces of the collar and 2 pieces of the collar stand, after which I'll go ahead to attach the collar and the collar stand to 1 piece of the fabric. Once I'm done doing that, I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after cutting out my fabric, this is what it is going to look like. I also went ahead to attach the collar stitch to a piece of the collar stand and also to the piece of the main collar itself. I also went ahead to add a seam allowance of 0.5 inch all the way around, and I have 2 pieces of the collar stand and 2 pieces of the main collar itself. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to start stitching, and in doing that I'll be stitching the main collar first. So I'll go over my sewing machine to stitch from this part all the way down to the other side. Once I'm done doing that, I'll turn it over to the good face, give it a good press, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after stitching the collar together, this is what it is going to look like. I also went ahead to give it a good press, and this is what we have. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the collar to the collar stand, and in doing that, first I'm going to go ahead to notch the center of the collar, and I'll go ahead to notch the center of the collar stand also. So I'll go ahead to fold it into 2 and notch the both of them like you see me doing in the video. So after notching the collar and the collar stand, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the collar to the collar stand, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to place the collar in between the collar stand. So make sure that the part with the gum stay are together while the part with just the fabric alone are together. So I'm going to go ahead to place the collar stand on the collar like so, then I'll put the other one underneath it like so, making sure that the midpoint of the 3 of them are aligning. Once I'm done placing it like so, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to stitch them together. So I'm going to go over my sewing machine and I will stitch from the midpoint to the side, and I'll be repeating the same thing for the other side also. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead to notch it, give it a good press, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after stitching the collar to the collar stand, this is what it is going to look like once I was done stitching it together. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach it to the shirt. So first I'll go ahead to notch the midpoint of the collar, then I'll go ahead to bring the shirt that I've already gone ahead to sew. So here I have the shirt. The first thing I'm going to go ahead to do on the shirt is to locate the midpoint of the back. So I'll go ahead to fold it into 2 like so, then I'll notch the midpoint of the back of the shirt. So after notching the midpoint of the back of the shirt, I'm going to go ahead to start attaching the collar to it. So I'm going to go ahead to place it like so, then I'll place the collar on the good face of the shirt, starting with the part without the gum stay. So I'm going to go ahead to place it like so, making sure that the midpoint of the back is aligning with the midpoint of the collar, after which I'll stitch it over to the front, and I'll be repeating the same thing on the other side also. So once I'm done doing that, I'm going to come back to show you what to do next. So after stitching the collar to the shirt, this is what we have. The next we are going to go ahead to do now is to stitch this other part to it, and in doing that you're going to go ahead to fold in 0.5 inch on the collar stand. You push in your sewing allowance on the shirt, then you go over your sewing machine to stitch all the way down to the front. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after stitching the collar stand to the shirt, this is what it's going to look like. As you can see, we are having a neat finishing both on the inner part of the collar and also on the outer part of the collar. So this is what you're going to be having once you're done doing that. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to close up the sides and attach my sleeve to the shirt. So before cutting out your sleeve, the first thing to do is to measure the armhole you have on your shirt. So I've already gone ahead to cut out the sleeve, and I use the armhole measurement I have on the shirt to do that. So this is me putting the front and the back block together to locate the midpoint of the shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead to notch it, after which I'll go ahead to attach the sleeve, which I've already gone ahead to cut out on the shirt. So here I have the sleeve. I'll also go ahead to notch the midpoint of the sleeve like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done doing that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to place the sleeve on the shirt, making sure that the notch parts are aligning, after which I'll go ahead to stitch it on the shirt. Once I'm done doing that, I'm also going to go ahead to close up the sides of the shirt. Then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after stitching the sleeve and closing up the sides of the shirt, this is what we have. So here I have the sleeve. In the next tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how I made the sleeve with cuffs and placket in my next tutorial. So this is what the shirt is going to look like once you're done fixing the sleeve and closing up the side. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to create my button hole on the button allowance I made. Then I'll go ahead to finish up the hem of the shirt. So once I'm done doing that, I'm going to come back to show you the final look of the shirt. So after I was done fixing the button and finishing the hemline of the shirt, this is what it looks like. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how I made this pants you see here, because this video was getting longer already. That is why I decided to break the video into two. So if this video was helpful to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you are yet to, and also please recommend this channel to other designers that might need it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.